Hi, I'm Stan Stalnaker with hubculture.com, and we're here with Mr. Matthew Jalali from TAMCO Steel, based here, a California company. They're doing some really quite innovative and exciting things in the world of commodities. Now, we know that in a resource-poor world where there's more and more people demanding everything that we want, resources have become a very, very important focal point in the climate change discussion. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat today with Mr. Jalali about their company and the things that they're doing to not only address climate change, but to look at innovation in the steel industry. So welcome, Mr. Jalali.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of steel in terms of global climate change policy. One of the reasons I'm here is that as we go through this path of global climate policy, we want to make sure that energy-intensive industries such as steel are being looked at for this during this process. And one thing I've been pushing for is that along with cap and trade, we should have a carbon intensity standard set for the products. In this way, we provide a level playing field for all the players in the world that make steel.
Matthew, tell me, what is carbon intensity? We talk a lot about carbon trading, we talk about the environmental footprint, we talk about all these things, but carbon intensity hasn't really had that much attention. Can you explain to me and to our guests, what is carbon intensity and how does it work?
Yeah, it's basically a metric. That's how you can measure the amount of carbon that you put out per each ton of your product that you produce. For example, in our case, it's about half a ton of CO2 per ton of steel that we make.
And how does that compare to other steel companies, for instance, around the world?
Right, around the world. In US, the average is about 1.2 ton. In Europe is 1.7, and China, which is the largest steel maker.
So you're twice as efficient as most steel companies in the United States.
And in China, it's 2.5. We are 5 times as efficient as Chinese steel mill. But here's opportunity for people like us who have done everything we can to be very efficient. If we set a standard, say, for example, at 1 ton per ton of product, and we are at half a ton, then we have that half extra that we can use that as, free allowances that we can use to expand the operation, or that would be a reward for being efficient. Mm-hmm. As opposed to those who are above the 1 ton threshold, they have to buy credits.
So it's almost creating an efficiency market on top of a carbon market.
Exactly.
That's very interesting. Now, I understand that TAMCO Steel is it's a California jobs generator because you guys are based here in California, and you're taking recycled materials and then turning those into your steel products. Can we talk a little bit about how you're taking recycled materials? Because that seems to me like a great story for steel.
We in California, we receive all of our raw material, which is a scrap, from California. 600,000 tons of scrap metals, which otherwise would end up in landfills.
Right, wasting away and polluting the environment again,
exactly.
Right?
So we recycle that and we make rebar out of it. And this is a cradle-to-cradle process. We can reuse it 100 times over and we still have the same quality of rebar. So that's the story. That's why we have been able to compete with other mills in, say, Midwest.
Do you have an idea of how much scrap gets recycled? If you look at the total supply of scrap that goes into a junk heap now, do you have any idea how much of that gets recycled? Because I know traditionally when we look at recycling, there's a lot of questions about the economic viability of going to the trouble to recycle it versus the cost of extraction. And as extraction goes up, has the cost of recycling now become just something that's actually just good business?
Right. No, the steel is recycled more than any other material. People don't know about that. More than plastic, paper, bottles, cans, aluminum. 85% of steel is being recycled.
85% of steel is being recycled. On a global basis or just in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
Now, you've had it 3 days here at the Governor's Global Climate Summit. Before we wrap up, what's your takeaway? Well, how do you feel about it, and how do you feel about the view going forward?
I think it's gaining more and more attention. I was in this first summit last year, and you can tell from the number of people and delegations from different countries that this is gaining more attention and momentum, which is all good to Copenhagen, that will seal the deal and go forward. I think it's a good thing. Like I said, the only thing is that we have to make sure that we cover all the bases. We don't want to create or implement a policy that would cause industry to leave the state. I mean, that should be, and I think all the industry should have representation throughout this process. That's why we have been part of this since 2006. We have been reporting our greenhouse gas emissions, and we have been recognized as Climate Action Leader for 2 years in a row, and we have been involved since the beginning.
Great. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jalali. You can catch the rest of the interviews from all over the Global Climate Summit at hubculture.com, including this talk with Mr. Jalali, as well as on YouTube at hubculture.com and also youtube.com/hubculture. Thanks a lot, Mr. Jalali.
Thanks, Dan.